All right, I think that we are ready to get started. Thank you for joining us for the Linux Network Troubleshooting at Scale with NetBeez AI webinar. Just a few rules for today's webinar. If you have any questions, feel free to use the Q&A button at the bottom of your Zoom screen or the chat function to ask any questions that you have. We will answer all questions at the end of the webinar. And I think that that's it. We can get started. All right, so a little bit about today's webinar. AI closes the network troubleshooting gap, and we're going to show you how we do that here at NetBeez. NetBeez plus natural language lets engineers diagnose hundreds of users across locations in real time. And we're going to do a little demo of how we do that as well. Here is our agenda for the webinar today. It should be about 20 minutes long. We'll give you an overview of what NetBeez does, along with the challenges of troubleshooting at scale and what NetBeez is, and NetBeez plus AI-assisted analysis, followed by the testing capabilities that we have and can use with a live demo of NetBeez AI. And then lastly, like I said, a Q&A if you do happen to have any questions, we'll answer those. And today's presenters are myself from marketing and Panos from engineering. And happy birthday, Pano.
Thank you for the wishes.
I'm sure what you always wanted for your birthday was to do a webinar, so you're
Yes,
welcome.
when we planned that, I was really excited about this day. Yeah.
I bet.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll let you take it away. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so let's get going, right? So we're here today because a lot of us are IT engineers, network engineers, Wi-Fi engineers, right? And when we get a report or a ticket about any, like poor user experience, we have to dig in and first understand what the issue is, who is affected, and try to troubleshoot and get to the root cause. And there are many questions we need to ask along the way when we do that. And to answer those questions, first of all, is can we answer those questions, right? Do we know what ISPs our users are on? Do we know how do they get to the different resources and services they use over the internet or over VPN? So we need the data, right? We need the data to be able to answer some questions, and then go and ask these questions, the kind of pointed questions, in order to troubleshoot and root cause. First of all, how does NetBeez come into play here? We don't have any kind of detailed background information about NetBeez, but in a nutshell, in this scenario here, where we have remote workers sitting at home, they can be on Mac, Windows, Linux, they can be also on campus, right, on premises. Is the idea is how do collect the data, right, for this troubleshooting I just described. And the idea is that we install this endpoint. It's a background lightweight processing memory and CPU that collects information about the ISP, the Wi-Fi signal strength, link quality. It tells us things about latency, different resources, different applications, and all these are reported traditionally on a dashboard. Everybody has a dashboard, right? We have one. But again, the focus on this webinar is not the dashboards. How can we bypass the dashboard? My prediction is that, I don't know exactly when, but dashboards will start fading away from our daily routine and will be more towards what I'm going to be talking about today. We're going to be doing our job on a prompt. But speaking about dashboard, this is what our dashboard looks like. If I were to show you a bunch of thumbnails that represent users on your network. And here you see roughly that each user has, might be at different locations, Phoenix, New York, LAX, etc. And we do what we call synthetic testing. So we run these periodic ping DNS HTTP tests continuously that help us collect the data we talked about. So we need the data first and information to understand who is affected, when the problem started, if it's intermittent, etc. And imagine doing this for hundreds or thousands of users at dozens of locations, or even like if they work from home on more than that. So how does that come into play now with the AI and LLMs that we are all familiar with? So we have an MCP server that connects natural language interface with an LLM that prompts our dashboard, right? Talks to our dashboard, to the MCP server, and with natural language, we can ask questions and get answers back after some analysis. So the AI helps us here to do things we used to do manually. You can still do the same things manually, go down to the dashboard. And actually myself, I can do both. Of course, I have a long experience with NetBeez. By taking a look at the dashboard, I can kind of easily understand what's going on, what might be going on, and drill down further and ask the questions and analyze myself. But that's not the same for everybody, right? So especially if you're new to the dashboard, it might be easier to get introduced and get value out of it through an LLM. So this kind of the rough, I would say, flow of formation here, of troubleshooting process where the engineer prompts, right, to your favorite AI tool, an AI interface. And then, of course, to the MCP server, then we talk to the NetBeez dashboard, and then we get information back that the AI can further analyze, and then we can follow up with more questions, more prompts, and drill down and ask to do more things, right? And without further ado, let's see here what we're talking about. Okay, so let me go back to, here's my interface. So I'm going to get started by, I'm going to copy and paste here the prompt because of course it's going to take a while for the first analysis, and while it's doing its analysis, I'm going to explain a little bit more what we're doing here, what's going on. So what in my specific case, I use Cursor as my interface. You can use, of course, whatever your company provides, whatever is your favorite one. And the reason I like Cursor is because it gives you the ability to pick from many different LLMs that are available out there. You can go and pick and choose different levels of, I would say, thinking or speed. Specifically, I like to use the one provided by Anthropic, Claude 14.8 in this case, high, and I use the fast version because for the purpose of the webinar, it's a bit more expensive, right? But I want to move faster here. I don't want to get stuck on, like loops and thinking, right? So that's what I'm using. And here's the first, I would say, answer. The question I asked, I pasted it here, so I didn't talk about it, right? So I got a report today that some users reported poor voice quality. We use Genesis in this scenario, and there were some, users opening tickets and reporting poor voice quality, right? So I'm giving the first prompt here, and as you may know, I have heard is that in order to get good answers and quickly, it has to be as specific as possible as you can, and your request should be also specific, right? So I say here, talk about Genesis, look at the alerts today, and give me a short table about the active alerts, right? And it did. So I see here, oh, what's going on? I have here in Los Angeles, Balogun, Pepe, and Pulisic. Oh, these guys, they're supposed to be there today. I hope they working hard, and we're gonna have a good day today. So I'm glad they're in LA. And so these three guys now here have active alerts, right? All of them have some active alerts, but more specifically, I wanna talk about a little bit more about Genesis and the specific VoIP issues that I got reports from, right? So I'm gonna give the second prompt here, which I'm gonna compare the alerting and VoIP performance in terms of like jitter and packet loss to my people in New York, like Messi, for example. Messi is in New York right now. User Messi is there. So, and then I didn't prompt it this time specifically to give me the output in the table, but I asked for a comparison. So I think it's gonna give me a table as well, right? Comparing, I would say, LAX with New York. So I have users in LAX, New York. I have users in Kansas City in this scenario. And I want to isolate first, understand, are my issues isolated in a specific location? These users are remote users. They work from a specific office location, right? In Los Angeles, in this case, and New York, right? They don't have to work from home. But I want to see, okay, is it like all my users experience the same issue or just the Los Angeles ones or the New York or Kansas or San Francisco users? Okay, so it's doing its thing. So I like it. I like also this interface. The other reason I like this cursor interface is because it gives me kind of the highlights of the process of the LLM, of its thinking. So I can like pick up on lines here and go and pinpoint things that might be perceiving wrong, etc. Right? So can you give this? Okay, let me see. It's not done yet. Okay. So it's still trying to pull the data and analyze it. Okay. Okay, it's telling me here that Messi has recovered. Okay, so there's the table I was looking for, right? Okay, so yeah, so look at that. So I see here my three Los Angeles users. Actually, all of them have very high, I would say like high packet loss and jitter. I mean, the values here are way too high, honestly. I'm setting up this scenario in a way to show you, demonstrate what's going on. If you had 5% packet loss, it would be lost. But for the purpose of this webinar, just accept that's a higher value than the others. So, right, so the 3LX users have 5, 3, and say 3.7% packet loss, right? And their most score has been below 3.5 for like more than 20% of the time today, while Messi in New York is doing okay, right? I mean, only 8% below 3.5, his packet loss 0.8, jitter very low, and Moss has been very good, right? So so now I want to drill even a little bit more, and I want to see, okay, it looks like it's isolated in my LX users, and the next prompt I have here is I want to make correlation and see, okay, is this issue in LAX, is it like correlated to the ISP I have there, right? Or is it some other issue, right? So now again, this information can be collected from the dashboard. I can go and point and click on each user and see their ISP and everything, but that takes some time, right? And I see here that the three LX users are on two different ISPs. One is Balogan is in Comcast, while Pepe and Pulisic on AT&T. So it's not like I would say specific to the specific ISP, right? So we have two different ISPs, so it's not where it should be. It's prompting me here to do path analysis and do some analysis of the trace of the I would say that traffic flow from LAX to Genesis, and we can do that later. But for now, actually, I want to run another test. I want to run right now a speed test from Pulisic, right? That's in LAX to measure its up and down performance, right? So here we do something different. So far, we're analyzing the existing data, the existing alerts, and collected information by NetBeez. We're analyzing it through the MCP. The MCP was doing the, of course, the back and forth with the server, the API calls, etc., right? And it was distilling and presenting the results to me. Now I'm doing something different. I'm asking the LLM go and on users Pulisic's device and run a speed test, right? So generate a test, a synthetic test and report the results back. So what should be doing right now is doing an API call through the MCP server to the user's device, running this test and reporting back, right? Oh, here's the result. So I did that and got download 190 megabps, upload 0.2 megabps, latency 3. Okay, so here's what we see here. This is a consistent with the upstream direction problem, which aligns with an ISP issue rather than a site line. So LAN problem, right? As you can see, it did this test for me and I got these results back. And just to kind of show you what this looks like. So again, you can keep drill into more here, right? So I can say, go ahead with the traceroute path analysis, for user. I would say let's talk about police switch and report back. So this is gonna take a while because I didn't want to do that while we're in the main part of the demonstration here because it might take a while, right? So traceroute results to be analyzed. It's multiple hops, path analysis, even more flow information that goes from A to B. And might take a while, so I didn't want to break the flow too much here of the presentation. But what I want to do now, and while it's doing its thing here, I want to go back and show you what this looks like actually on the dashboard, right? Because I want to show the juxtaposition of the two, right? What does the traditional dashboard analysis look like as opposed to the one from the LLM, right? So if you're a trained NetBeez user, I would say this is all the targets that are now going on my dashboard. I can see tests to Genesis, to Cloudflare, to Gmail, and I can see the only resource we're monitoring service Genesis has alerts. You see here the 9 users reporting these issues, right? And what happens is that I can drill more myself from the dashboard, the traditional point and click way. I can check here. I can go, okay, I have here in this target, I have actually 3 Genesis data centers, actually 2 uh, uh, on the eastern part of the country and one on the west. And I can click more and go and see, okay, on the west now, my users are in Los Angeles. So I'm going to look at the one that's on the west. I can see here the 3 users, right? Balogan, Pepe, and Pulisic having these issues, right? So, but if I was, kind of a newbie user at NetBeez, I might have chosen to start with the MCP server, the LLM, that is, I would say, more user-friendly and easier to get started. And then, of course, you can go back and get familiar with the dashboard as well. So then, as you can see here, I'm drilling more into these things. I go into each user, Pepe, Pulisic, and Ronaldo, Balogan in LA, right? And I can go and see now here historical information. I can go and see, of course, what happened in the last. I can see here how the jitter and how the latency to the Genesis data centers is jittery from depending on the time of the day and all these things. And then can go back to our LLM and see if it came to any conclusions based on the traceroute and path analysis. So the results is unambiguous and points somewhere different than the ISP backbone. Okay. What this means, the bottleneck is at Pulisic's first hop, the local router gateway, not the AT&T backbone or Genesis. The path never even gets past the home office gateway to reach AT&T network. So actually, it went a step further. It analyzed the trace route and path analysis synthetic testing results and came to conclusion there's something going on at the LAX location. So now I have to go back and check my local router and switch there and see what's going on, right? And with that, I hope I convinced you and showed you how you can use your company's provided LLM or your favorite LLM interface with the NetBeez MCP server and use this natural language interface for network troubleshooting. So let me find here the presentation. Where's the presentation? Wait a minute. Where is it? Yeah, the next slide will be the Q&A slide, but I cannot find it now. I don't know where it went.
I
Okay.
can take over
Yes,
and do the
just you can take
Q&A here.
over. Yes, go ahead.
All right.
Yeah, here. Okay, found it.
You got it? Okay.
Okay.
So to start the Q&A, it looks like we have a question that says, curious, where are all of these Genesis KPIs coming from? Are you harvesting them from Genesis or are you creating them using your NetBeez?
Right. So it's the latter, right? So just to take a step back, NetBeez does synthetic testing. So we run from each user's device, we run these latency ping tests to Genesis, for example, data centers and servers. So Genesis specifically provides some testing server that can say, if you want to measure latency to our infrastructure, use these specific servers. Other providers do the same, like RingCentral, and etc. So we generate this data, we measure them actively from each user's device. It's collected, of course, on the NetBeez server, and that's where all this information is pulled from.
All right, perfect. I don't see any other questions at this time, but if you think of something after the webinar and you would like to ask it, feel free to go to our website, netbeez.net, and use the intercom function, which is our chat at the bottom right hand of your screen. Any questions that you ask, one of us will answer. And if you want to see the dashboard or other features, you can email sales@netbeez.net and we can give you a personalized live demo of whatever feature you want to see or whatever problem you would like